AM 1430 KRGI, 105.5 FM. Good morning. I'm Brian Gallagher. We have a guest online from Hamilton. Ryan Weinteers here to talk to us about AI and some of its highs and lows, also in relation to cybersecurity. Welcome back, Ryan. It's good to see you.
That's great to be back.
Isn't it amazing how on Halloween we get to talk about something that's frightening? AI. It's unknown. So I would like to know what you know so far about AI and maybe what's the scariest aspect that businesses should know about.
Yeah, you'll see there's kind of an overriding theme to some of my answers today. There's two things that scare me the most about AI. The first is that the average business owner is not planning for how to best protect their business data. Companies should have policies for employees on what tools they can use, as well as what company information or data can be used in those AI platforms. Because once you put that information out into ChatGPT, it's theirs. They use it for training, they use it for their information. It's gone, and it's often this financial or proprietary data that offers the most upside. So it's like, hey, this is what I can use to help actually benefit my company, but it probably has the most risk to then put out there. So obviously business owners, they're all smart, but they should measure that risk and determine if it's worth giving that information away. And obviously the second thing is the bad guys out there. We come on this call and we talk about cybersecurity and the bad guys all the time. A lot of people in this world, they hear AI, but they don't really know how it works nor how to make the most of it. Well, I can tell you who does, right? It's these tech smart, malicious people. They understand AI and they've just gained the power and the speed of AI to hit more business networks, to put out more phishing emails, to make those phishing emails better, right? And I really expect the number of, cyber events over the coming years to really grow. The risk is growing.
Are those the main risks that business owners should be aware of?
Yes. So how do you work to counter those risks, right? So I'll answer both of them again. That first half of what tools to use and what data, the business just has to make sure they've thought about it and communicated the company's policies and procedures. So what tools are acceptable and which ones are not. What company data can be leveraged within AI tools, if any, and what cannot. For example, Microsoft Copilot is one of the only approved tools at Hamilton. And, we have very specific rules written on what can be put in there and what cannot. It makes it easy for an employee not to be in that unknown. So then on that second side of the bad guys, right? We've preached over and over and over on these calls with you, Brian, that educating your employees is as important as ever, right? So as the malicious actors out there have gained access to AI, they can target your company, with a couple of keystrokes, and it'll be very targeted and know your business, the language, it'll know the industry. So when they're going to send those phishing emails, it's not going to have the typos, it's not going to have the mistakes. The AI is going to make it easier and easier for these bad guys. So educate your people, right? Tricky part is everybody makes mistakes. I've made mistakes of clicking on phishing emails. I hate to admit it. I think I've admitted it before to you, but so it happens. So as that risk grows, businesses have to have all of the correct cyber controls in place for when those clicks happen.
In the world of the unknown, we hear a lot about AI as the villain or the way that the bad guys can use AI to infiltrate. But you, with your business and how you try to offer protection and options and so on, how do you use AI as a valuable tool?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to answer first the kind of the easy part, or the fun part of how I get to use AI. I obviously work, mostly in sales and marketing at Hamilton. It has made my life better. When I get a rough draft of an outbound email based upon an industry, because I want to hopefully gain some more connections. It makes it easy. I look at the people in accounting, HR. How do they leverage AI to make their jobs better, where all of their information is very private, health information, things like that, that their jobs are kind of waiting for what can AI do for them. So only part of our, part of businesses have really been able to leverage AI. Um, and then, obviously on the cyber side, we use cybersecurity, and this kind of dovetails into, I think, a conversation we'll have here in a second. That if you use AI in a inquisitive nature, right? Like, what are we most at risk for? What phishing emails are most likely to make it through? What things are, in our industry are the biggest risk? It can help educate you to your blind spots. And if you ever get into that type of use of AI, it's really eye-opening to just say, what am I blind to?
I think there's a lot of people that want to know. So if a business does want to know and they heard your hint, what should they do?
Yeah. Well, this is the fun answer. The answer is AI, but it's more starting with that inquisitive kind of analytical side. Instead of just diving in and saying, what should I do with this? My invoice. My invoices seem to be 30 days behind. Or how do we just start with asking industry questions, competitor questions, most effective email marketing campaigns? Those things are easy. And then you can even get into, use fake scenarios or fake information to help give you ideas on how to um, make the most of AI in your business. You don't have to put all of your financial information in there to start to get some financial impact out of AI. And then, this whole conversation here has been about, well, once I put data in the cloud or out in AI, it's gone. There are companies like Hamilton that are finding ways to make AI use private. And if you're looking for that type of engagement, obviously call us.
Here's your AI ally, Hamilton. You can have that one. That one's free, okay?
I like it.
Ryan Weintier from Hamilton. Always a pleasure, my friend. Thanks.
Thank you.
Good morning from AM 1430 KRGI, 105.5 FM.